What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count live with me, your host and international award winning Make Every Second Count speaker. I'm so pumped up tonight. I am pre recording this episode because our guest tonight is from not around here. She's actually from Central Europe, and I didn't want her to have to get to a computer at like 1 a.m., so we're doing it this way. But so I ask you guys if you would please share this episode out. Invite as many people as you can to watch it. You can just tag them in the comments if you want. Also, please keep the thumbs up, the hearts, the frowny faces, the cry faces. Please keep all that coming. We want to trick the algorithm on one of the socials that we're on, and then keep the comments coming. We want to have more of a conversation than just make a presentation. So, with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage tonight's guest. Hi, Daisy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and hello to you also, and welcome for having me here.
No, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my peeps. I definitely appreciate it. So, if you would like to go through a short introduction of yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, I would love that.
Yes, of course. So, yeah, my name is Daisy. I'm based, as you said, in Europe. I have a base in Berlin in the middle of Europe, but I also work as a digital nomad around Europe. I work as a coach, both with individuals and with team, and very much about transformations.
Wow, that is very cool. So, tonight we're going to be learning about the value of a slow journey. But so, when I was 17, was in a severe car accident. I actually spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. They told me I wouldn't be walking again, but I do each and every day. And I am so proud of that because I have done that on 4 continents now. And that gets me more and more pumped up every day. But I happen to know that life has a tendency to try and hold us back, try to put things in our way that stop us from growing. So, has there been anything in your life that has tried to stop you from growing?
Yes, definitely. I have dyslexia, and in preschool it was very hard for me, and I thought I would never get an education. I couldn't find out how to read, and the letters and everything was, what do you say, just a mess. And that was really a point where I thought, what am gonna happen? Because yeah, I am from a country where it's a knowledge country, so everyone gets an education.
Yeah.
And I felt at that point I was never gonna be able to get an education.
Wow. And how did that make you feel? I mean, that has to be extremely hard.
Yes, definitely. It made me feel helpless. Also because yeah, it was this feeling of something everyone else understand. I just can't understand. Um, and why is this so hard for me when it's easy for everyone else?
Wow. That must be a lonely feeling to feel like you're different than everybody else.
Yes, it is. And also, what you say, one of the things you learn is yeah, the term for it is you learn to mask. So you learn to fake it. Um, but that doesn't make it easier on yourself that you are faking that you can manage.
Yeah, correct. I know that a lot of coaches tell you to fake it until you make it. And while that has its benefits for actually making it in life, the faking it part isn't easy.
No,
So,
and
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I also think it depends a little bit of what you are faking. Are you faking something you can change, or are you faking something you can't change? Uh,
That is a good point there because I I think we lost Daisy again.
about this one of what can control and what can't control.
Yeah. So I understand that that is a huge problem. I know, like when I was going through all my rehab, which I am still doing 24 years later, crazy, isn't it? But I had to focus on what I could control because my body didn't want to work. And that is kind of the same with your brain when you're looking at letters and things and they go backwards and that I don't even know how I would deal with such a thing. So is there any particular schooling that you got to help with your dyslexia?
Yes, there is a way of what you say of teaching people with dyslexia to read. So you do a recognition. So instead of looking at simple letter, you're learning by heart the pattern of every word. Uh, it's hard. The advantage is when you have learned it, you get a reading speed like crazy because
Wow.
suddenly you are seeing patterns. Uh, and I learned that. I learned it, what you say, in the last year of public school, and I broke the code of reading books and things like that. And right at the later on, I also got my university degree. But I will also say I also got tools to help me. So I got tools to help me to read up from a computer and things like that. So I will say in everyday life, people rarely notice I have dyslexia until I have to write something without my tools. Who knows how a person with dyslexia writes? And then I suddenly write, I spell like a 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That that has to be really hard too because when like even when I walk around now, I have I don't I'm not necessarily the smoothest at walking, and I'm always curious. I'm always wondering. I'm always worried that other people are judging me. And I could see how writing and not being able to spell right has people judging you as stupid when you're not stupid.
Mm. Uh, I will say yes and no. I'm speaking very openly about it, and also, as I said, I do also work with as a team coach, which also means I work with teams at companies, and I am very openly about it and say, hey, if it's a problem for you that you can't read what I'm writing on the whiteboard, then tell me it. There will be words where I can't spell it, and I will ask you to spell it for me. The advantage of this pattern recognition when I'm reading is I also can use it when I'm writing.
Yeah,
So to a certain degree, it helps me quite a lot to make it function, what you say, in everyday life. But yeah, I am every single day spelling words wrong.
yeah. That has to be extremely hard because
Mm.
you know what the words are. You know
Mm.
how to say them. You just can't get them to write the correct way. I get how that would be frustrating.
Mm.
So I know you have talked a little bit about controlling what you can control. And
Yes.
um it how else did you deal with the situations that you faced as a young kid?
I will say as a young kid, I was not that good in dealing with it. It came later on. But yeah, it came. For example, I have been at job interviews later on in corporate life. I have been very open about I have dyslexia. I don't write it in the first application, but I say it at the first. If I get into interview, I say it because it does mean that, for example, I need some special tools on my working computer. I need to be allowed to install these tools for it to work for me. So I will say later on, I have learned to embrace it. Um, and I have also, what you say, learned that it also have its advantages of having a neurodiversity, because in some ways my brains are working in other patterns. So it also has its strengths. So I have learned
Wow.
to work with the strengths.
Wow, that is really cool. So you're I I like the fact that you said you're learning to work with its strengths.
Mm.
And so I'm curious though, does everything out there have its strengths?
Yes, I will say everything. You can find a strength in everything. It's the question if you can embrace it.
That is amazing right there. So what is the best way for you or somebody else to embrace the challenge that they are facing so they can find that strength?
I will say it is look at it positive. So not say, hey, this is great, but see what could be the positive of this. So don't force it. It's not like you have to find the positive, but what could be the positive in this, and what would that require? And that would quite often show you the strength there is in this.
Yeah, that is really cool. So I know one of the things that I talk about is that there's a light at the end of every tunnel, and there there is a lesson that adversity comes to teach you, and you have learned the lesson your adversity has tried to teach you, or you are learning that.
Mm.
Which one you've learned or you're learning?
I will say regarding my dyslexia, I have learned.
All right,
Uh,
and are you continuing to learn?
yes, I am. I am. I do believe you always need to develop in some kind of direction, and you need to challenge yourself. Um, so I am, like I said, at for example, at job interviews, I did say I had dyslexia. I have for what you say. When is that in 21? I decided to change my career and go freelancer. So I
Wow,
went for a very corporate life with a university degree within the science fields to go freelance and be a coach.
wow. That has what's that difference like? I mean, to leave a corporate job that is structured and go to something like a freelance coach, that has to be difficult.
It was, and and it was more difficult than I also had imagined, and it was definitely more difficult on my mindset than I have imagined it would be.
Wow. So, what kind of tools or tips did you take advantage of at the time that you left your corporate job to become a freelance coach?
Uh, one of the first things I did was try to build a new network to find peers. So find someone who have walked the road before, to a certain degree, to hear what were they saying, what should I be aware of, what could I learn from them.
That is so funny because, well, not funny, but just strange, I guess, because I also talk about the fact that while people hear this stuff all the time, that I try and tell them that they don't put it into action. And like Ryan Holiday says that you can learn from the people of the past, all from reading books. And people don't read. People don't take advantage of these things that other people are telling them because they just don't believe it, I guess. Or
Mm.
they don't believe it is important right now. But I think it is imperative that people actually do these things. Look, like if you have learned from going through dyslexia, and I've learned from going through a brain injury, and we can help out other people in the world by telling them our stories or giving them things that helped us. And they might help them, they might not. But shouldn't people take advantage of that?
I believe definitely yes. And it's and I think sometimes where when what you can say the resistance against this can be that people feel they have to do what other says. And then we are back to what is within your control. You do the things you hear that feels right for you. You don't have to do it 100% as someone else have done, but perhaps there is 10% you can see you can adapt from one person, 10 from another, 5 there, and some of the mixture is also yourself.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you for that point of view. I appreciate that. But so this show is really about helping people get past what they are facing. And how can you suggest that other people get past something they're facing in their life? It might be a diagnosis or a dyslexia, or it might be a car accident like me, or it might even be something like the changing of careers.
Mm.
How can you try and help other people that are going through those things?
I will say, imagine where you want to be. So start with the endpoint to say, okay, where do I want to be? And then work backwards. What does that require? So, because the endpoint that is so far away and it can be so huge, but knowing where you want to go and then work backwards and say, okay, what would that require? What would that require? What would that require? And in a little way of that, finding all the small steps you need to take.
Yeah. Wow. That is very, very observant. I like that advice. So I I'm also curious about one other thing. Like, how does your dyslexia affect your day-to-day life?
I will say, in my day-to-day life, it rarely affects me anymore. I have, like I said, I have learned to embrace it. I accept that I make my spelling error. One thing where, like I said, I do live as a digital nomad and I travel around Europe. One thing where it affects and it's also irritating me is I have very hard with learning new language. Because this one of getting the understanding of how a language is built and how things are pronounced and things like that, that is very hard for me. And that is a thing I would love to be easier.
Yeah, and I would assume that English is not your first language. Is that
No,
correct?
that's correct.
Wh-
That's my second language.
And what is your first? Is it German?
It's Danish. So
Danish.
I do Danish, English, and German not very good. But I can get around. I can manage on German.
Wow. Can you at least say where's the bathroom?
That I can say in German, yes. I wouldn't dare to spell anything in German because I have never needed. I use it as a what do you say to talk German to get
Yeah,
around.
I
So
get
I
that.
wouldn't try to spell anything in German. That would go
Yeah.
horrible wrong.
Wow. That sounds like something that would be interesting.
Hmm.
So, are what's next for you?
I will say what's next is I feel very good where I am now. I like being a coach. I like being a digital nomad. So it is to grow that in a way of where I still have what do you say my freedom. That was one of the things why I left corporate life. That was to have more freedom over my own time. And that I want to keep.
That's good. So, do you foresee anything coming after or even during your coaching career?
I will say I love to be what do you say excellent or a master in things. So there is always new things I can develop and I can learn and I can try out. It's for me what do you say a profession is always a development. Um,
Wow.
so there will definitely come new things where I will dive into that and I will learn more and I will see how I can adapt it to what I already know and if it is something for me.
All right. So, what is it that you wish the world knew about dyslexia that they don't?
I will say I wish the world knew that there are tools that in fact can help very much with dyslexia. There is special way of training both adults and kids with dyslexia so they can have a perfectly normal reading standard. The spelling will never be amazing, but
But
there
don't worry, mine isn't either.
yeah, and there is also tools who can help you with that. So there are tools you can use, and they are out there, and they will make your life easier.
All right. And do you happen to have any contact information you would like people out there to have?
Yeah, I will say if you would like to get in contact with me, either about coaching or about hear more about dyslexia, I am in the lucky situation. I have a very unique name, so you can just Google my name, Daisy Hilbrands, and then you will find both my website link and my LinkedIn.
All right. So that is Daisy. Hilbrands is Hilbrands. And in Hilbrands, there's only one L, not two. Just wanted to make that obvious to you guys so you could find her if you were looking to. My name is Jeff Marconette Jr. You can find out more information about me on jeffmarconetjr.com, which is JEFF. Marconette is MARCONETTE. Junior is JR.com. and all my socials are listed there across the top of the page. So I do have one final question, Daisy. What exactly does make every second count mean to you?
That is finding the joy in every day. There is something who makes me happy every day.
That is the perfect answer. I love that. So I need everybody out there, including you, Daisy, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when your seconds will run out on your one life. That's all you get, one. I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And from Central Europe, I say Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf
Oh wait,
Wiedersehen.
that's for you to say. What is your goodbye in Danish?
Det er tak for i dag. So thank you for today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your night. And we'll see you guys later. Have a great one.
Thank you.